DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA with us, DeFi Kingdoms, and also happy Halloween. Glad to see you all here today, and we are going to be doing a bunch of things today. So we've got some updates to give. We'll be going through some questions, but also we are going to have a bout between Winston and Skiller happening here in, I believe, about 20 minutes.
He's already threatening me. Look at these emoticons. What do you call those things? Emojis?
Emojis,
that up. He's threatening me already. Look at this.
He's trying to get that, that mental deterrent in, it's all about the mind games. So yeah, we'll have that going here shortly as well. And then also, I believe Winston's going to be doing some other fun stuff that we'll talk about here in just a second also, which really rolls us straight into our first update. It is Halloween today. For many of us, there may be a few that it is already day after Halloween, but hopefully for our US audience, it is still Halloween. And we are in the midst of the Spooktacular event, the Halloween Spooktacular. Both the Swearing Hat and currently the Death Touched skin is available from Dark Summoning. So quick report on those. We are about halfway through the Death Touch skin at this point. So far, about 15,000 heroes have been sent to the pit, and we have seen about a 27% return rate on the Death Touched skin, which means there's a question a little bit later, Sir Worm. Unfortunately, it is just your RNG. So we are seeing about a 27% overall return there. Swearing Hats, we are 8 days into the 30 days, I think. Pretty sure that's right. And so far we have seen 762 Swearing Hats minted from victorious hunts. As a reminder, the Swearing Hats give a bonus to spell, which is really fun, and also they look cool. So make sure you are getting in on these holiday events if they are of interest to you. If you want to have that Death Touched skin or a Swearing Hat that you don't have to purchase off the market, now is the time. With that, Winston, you want to talk about what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I would love to. Thanks, Bolon. I got my spooky red lights going, so I figured get my camera turned on. Yeah, I thought for a second we'd just look at some of these cool skins, some of the heroes that I thought were super cool. I liked this one. I love the orange and red head stuff going on, and then the green wings, super cool. Another one I really liked was Leonard, great name for a special one, but also the red eyes and the green hair and the horn. The horn I really like. And then the last one was it's a berserker, actually. It's the same kind of deal, just the red, going with the berserker, the red cape and the red appendage and the orange hair. I think it's a super cool one. So we've been really excited about this. We're glad you guys are enjoying it. And actually, as a little surprise for you, I have this dark summon ready to roll. We're going to give this, whatever it is, we'll open it live on here and we'll give it away to somebody who puts the word Halloween in the chat. Just Halloween. Just exactly. No guile, no funny business. Halloween. We'll probably do that after the bout, I guess. Give you guys some time to put it in there. We'll figure out a good time to do it, and we'll sneak it in there. So yeah, thanks, Bolon. Those are my. Oh, actually, I'm a liar sometimes. We also today have ourselves an update coming. So we've got a release coming this afternoon. Excuse me. We're trying to get that out actually a little bit before the reset. So that might come like later before the reset, hopefully. And that is actually going to enable multi-voting. So you'll be able to vote on more than one bout at a time. As well as a slightly better spectator, view spectator match button, voting history, and then a few small contract changes you probably won't notice too much, and then some bug fixes. So pretty exciting. Multi-voting, that should kick into effect sometime this afternoon. So we're really excited about that, and we're stoked to see you guys voting on tons of stuff and getting crazy out there. So yeah, thanks, Bolon. I think now I actually can pass it back to you.
Hey, I appreciate it. And while we have not released multi-voting just yet, do make sure you go and vote on the Winston v. Skiller bout. So you should have, probably 12 minutes left to vote. Dang, I'm good. 12 minutes and 6 seconds. There's 1,239 and a half jewel up for grabs on this bout. So make sure you get in there and get voting before time runs out. Let's see, a couple other announcements real quick. Speaking of bouts and voting and spectating and all of that good stuff, we actually did just add a bot to our Discord. So you may or may not have seen it already. It is in the PvP Live and Replays channel, and that is the Bout Tracker bot. And it will send periodic messages that show a few things. It'll show scheduled battles, so that should help you keep an eye out for what's coming up. Those scheduled battles, if they have a sponsorship on them, it will also show the total sponsorship amount at the time that the message is sent. And then it also shows bouts that are looking for opponents. So if you're trying to keep an eye out, find a bout, or if you're trying to keep an eye out and find bouts to vote on, keep an eye out for those messages in the PvP Live and Replays channel. Shout out to Zealous. Actually, he had put this together and was using it on his Twitter and a couple other places. And so we added a webhook for it so that we could pull those messages in as well. But it's a pretty cool bot. So take a look. It's a really great way to stay on top of it and make sure that you aren't missing out on any voting opportunities if you're on the influence side, but also helping, find matches if you're looking for matches to play. So make sure you check that out. And then let's see, we also have
Hold on. Can I chime in?
No, just kidding.
No. Yeah, so with this like multi-voting coming out and us trying to find fun ways to help like sponsor more bouts and be more active, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's supporting the system. It really is a new idea in this space, and especially for us. And I'm really happy that it came out right with PvP as well. As much as people can help continue to support it, it just makes it more possible for us to like expand the scope of it and its long-term like efficacy, and like how other partners could contribute to it. So every time you hop in and support other players making matches during this like early phase of PvP, every time you go to use your influence and vote on a match, you might be doing it to get rewards, but just wanted to also thank everybody for doing it, because it, the volume, the numbers, the feedback, it all helps us continue to make this the best we can. So yeah, just wanted to say it's fun. There's cool rewards and everything involved, but it's also really, really helping us develop the right experience to scale and attract players, sponsors, and keep our partners happy as well. So thank you.
Most definitely. Yeah, cannot argue with that. And it's been really fun too. Just like it's been really cool to see. We've had a lot of bouts with massive amounts of influence on them. We've had bouts with over 1,000 jewel on them, one over 10,000. Like it's been really cool to just see people engaging with the system, having fun with it, and really just participating in a great way to have fun, hopefully. But yeah, especially, if you haven't gone over and pledged any heroes yet, whether you do or not is obviously entirely up to you, and I'm not going to tell you to, but at least check out the system. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. You can, earn passive jewel from the fee sharing, of course, but also, you can go in and vote on who you think is going to win different bouts, whether you think Winston's going to beat Skiller or Skiller is going to beat Winston. And if that bout is sponsored and you're right, you're going to get rewarded for that as well. So really cool. We've got a lot more coming on that front. We actually have a question a little later on that we'll talk about a little bit of what's coming, but we've got even more coming that we aren't going to talk about yet. So always stay tuned for more. And then last but not least, in terms of updates, I wanted to turn it over to Winston.
I have an update. I need to double back
Nope.
on the thing.
Sorry, you don't. I just flat out said the wrong name. I
was like,
I looked at your PFP and your name came out of my mouth. I apologize. I want to turn it over to Magnus.
Thanks, Bolon. Everybody, so it's another good day in the kingdom. Glad to be on an AMA again. I know there have been several reports of issues with the hero and equipment bridges this year. When there are issues, unfortunately, that results in delayed or stuck assets in the bridge, such as your heroes and equipment. It's really bad player experience, and we just wanted to let you all know that we've heard you. Thanks for all the reports you've been putting in Discord. That really lets us know like which heroes are stuck, and so continue to keep reporting those. But we're in the process of implementing a few different changes to make moving your Legion around a minimally stressful experience. First off, for Metis, we tried something new and implemented the bridge using Layer 0 V2, which is it's been really reliable so far. We've only had one stuck hero in that bridge after a month, and we're able to triage that pretty fast and actually like replay that ourselves without having to rely on a third party. So Layer 0's really has some good tools in place for that. They also give us some really clear events on the contract that can notify us about the issue pretty much like within a minute. So Pinecone's actually set up a bot to start spamming us in Slack if we see issues, and tells us which heroes are actually failing as well. So we can go in and triage those ASAP and get those heroes into their final destination as soon as we can. So that's one big improvement. And we're also looking into some of our other bridges and what we can do there. It might be some similar kind of reporting tools and maybe some transaction replay tools as well as part of that. But just overall, just wanted to let you know that we've heard you about the bridge reliability issues, and we're looking into more things we can do there. But yeah, the notification piece is going to be huge for the Metis path in particular. And then lastly, if for any of you community builders out there, the event is the LZ receive alert event on V2. If you happen to want to beat us to the punch and make a tool that allows anyone in the community to replay that transaction, you just have to pay a little bit of gas, and it will you can reattempt it in case it was just a gas issue or something like that. So yeah, Layer 0 has a lot of really cool tools to make that easy to do. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there as well about to all of our builders. Anyway, that's it for me.
Greatly appreciate you, Magnus, and all the work you've been doing on the bridges and Fox as well, and Pinecone. There's yeah, Layer 0 has been really good so far, so that's been awesome, and we want to continue improving on that experience. So greatly appreciate all the work you guys put in on that front. There are only a few minutes left to vote on our upcoming Winston v. Skiller bout. So make sure you get in there if you are wanting to, because you are almost out of time. And with that, we are going to dive into some questions. I know Winston's going to share his screen once that bout gets started, but in the meantime, we will knock out some questions. So, as always, we're starting out with Hubert. What is the anticipated targets for Phase 2 and Phase 3 PvP release, if we have any rough time frames?
Yeah, so I believe these have been released somewhere. I don't remember where that was, but Bolon, I think, does. But yeah, we're looking at Q1 next year and Q2 for those two respectively.
They were forced out of me at one point, but I'm not going to tell you where. No, when we did our CEG proposal for Metis, part of that is a roadmap. So we did mention them there in terms of quarters as well, but now you don't have to go look it up because we just told you. Let's see. This next question I'm actually going to take. What is being done in regards to onboarding and just future plans to make DFK easier to understand and get started? So we're always working on a lot of different things realistically, just in general, but onboarding is always something that's on our mind, making it easier and easier for players to be able to get started and get in. So, historically, some of those things have included like the Halliday wallet, which is much, much easier for anybody who's not a Web3 native. Things like on-ramps so that people can, bring money straight into the system very easily, buy Jewel with a credit card, buy Crystal with a credit card, whatever the case may be. We are looking at bringing on-ramps to Metis as well, with partners whose names you already know. So stay tuned for that. They are working on getting those integrated for us. So that'll be really exciting. Also, in terms of excuse me, future plans, there's really a lot of different things we can do, and several that we have talked about a lot, and have various plans. I'll say one of the big pieces that I think will help a lot when the time comes for it is scrub fights, having that low level combat content, where anybody can come in, pick up a level 1 hero and kind of get started, get that ball rolling. So when the time comes for scrub fights, I think those will be very, very helpful in that front. Outside of that, there's a lot that we can do to kind of streamline the onboarding process itself that we've talked about. All of those are pretty like front end intensive lifts. So it's a matter of, having the time and resources to implement stuff along those lines, but it's definitely on our radar as well. And I had another thing I was going to say that I just completely lost my train of thought on. But all in all, there's a lot of things that we're talking about and planning, and a lot of it's a matter of time and resources. Realistically, I did see Dreamer unmute, so I'm going to pass over to him if I remember my third thought.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of re-say what you said a little differently. We kind of have two major challenges with onboarding new people. One is on the technology side, if we're targeting gamers that aren't as well versed in Web3, and that's where a lot of the things we've actually already done with Halliday and others, with on-ramps and such, to make it easier to convert fiat into supported cryptos and other ways to purchase like DFK assets. That's been an ongoing thing, and that's not really limited to us, really. The whole industry has been progressing in that over the last 3 years, and we've been trying to keep up with everything there, and I think we've done a pretty dang good job on that. The other part of it is, for the OG players, the fun factors continue to increase, and we're at like an all-time high right now with PvP tournaments and hopping over and being able to do boss fights through hunts with drops and everything. And that's just going to continue to get more and more epic for those that understand. But for new players, fun factor is still a big question mark, because it's like, where do I start? How do I start gameplay early? So honing in on that one of the things that Bolon mentioned, scrub fights, for those that don't really understand what that means, we don't really have a bridge from like summon new hero to gameplay to grow to anything more. So that's something that obviously you don't see in the game yet, and we would love that at one point, one day. We just have so many things we're juggling right now, but the more we can build out a low-level game loop, a mid-level game progression loop, and then like an end game feeling of like maximum competition, that's where the technology that we've been putting in place to help onboarding will match like the new gamer feel, and then creating a long-term sticky gamer. So we have a lot of work to do there. We're well aware of it. We have really good plans around that as well. The more we tweet about it, the more we welcome people into Discord and help be the stopgap until we have those, and while we're building those, the better. So big thanks to the community that looks to look out for new players, but also we are talking constantly about both of these problems. Sometimes we're more focused than others, but what recently with our focus on all the things PvP, we are looking at in that like mid range future, how do we make it more palatable for new players? If you come in and you're only playing with the level 1, the level 5 hero, you have a lot less to figure out. If you come in and you're like, all right, full PvP, all skills, all heroes, all combinations, man, it's a lot of homework before they feel like they're having fun. So we're aware of that. Just wanted to add a little bit of detail to breaking down those two things. Bolon, back to you.
No, I greatly appreciate it. And that did actually remind me, you were talking about the community stuff like, the wiki. I know I've talked about it a couple times. I'm going to keep talking about it. But if you've got a little bit of time and the inclination, add some information to that, because so much of games is the available resources for them. Yes, there's a lot that we can do in the game as well. And we're talking about that, and we have plans for that as well. But, realistically, like most World of Warcraft resources are community made. Zelda resources are community made. Like, you guys are our players. You're the ones engaging in this game every single day. If you have the time and inclination to share a little bit of that knowledge with potential new players, it's a great opportunity. So highly, highly encourage all of you to, contribute in that way as well, if you can. And, all of you are phenomenal. Like, we love our community. We talk about it all the time, but, we see new players join the Discord and people are leaping to help them. That's fantastic. So even that is a great onboarding tool. And then if we can condense some of that into a point of information to direct people to, it's just that much more powerful. So mad love to all of you guys. But awesome. So jumping back over to Hubert for a little bit here, any indication on which comes earlier, Transcending and Divine Essence, or Phase 2 of PvP?
Yeah, I mean, I can say I would very much like for Transcending to come first. I can't promise that that's going to be what will happen, but we are working actively on getting that complete. So it's just a matter of depending on how long it takes and our resources, and we need to make sure that we do get tournaments done by our deadline as well. So and there are other things that we're also cooking on at the same time too, and things can come up. So just hedging a bit, but I very much would like for that to come first, and have been actively trying to make that be what happens.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Is it within the realm of possibilities to have pledged heroes be delegated to somebody else?
I mean, I suppose it is in the realm of possibilities, but I don't see that being something that we would be doing, just because it's, pledging a hero is kind of along the same lines of like depositing or locking your jewel in like the jeweler. It's kind of a choice that you're making to, forego some of the things that you can do with that asset in exchange for some other benefit. So like if we made it so it was, less sticky than that, it kind of goes away from, I guess, that initial design goal.
I have a little comment here. Yeah, I mean, I think that one use case for this that I've heard before for other things as well, every time that we get asked stuff about like hero delegation or things like that, one very common use case is, I have a hardware wallet and I want to store my high value assets there on the hardware wallet, but it's not really easy to play a actual game using a hardware wallet. So some people, what they'll do is look at a hardware wallet, and then they'll also use like Halliday or something like a smart account to actually play the game. So if there was a way to sort of store those things on a hardware wallet and yet delegate them to a Halliday account, to where the Halliday can do, a lot of the day-to-day playing things like meditating and like doing like PvP and like questing and all that type of stuff, but still storing them on a secure place. I think that's a good use case. And we've actually talked a lot about that internally. We have a few ideas of things. We've actually got some proofs of concept that we've actually like started on. So I think that there is a chance that we see something like that in the future. We just have to figure out what makes the most sense.
Awesome. Thank you both. Let's see. On in terms of PvP and bout length, Any thoughts on having a system that does like environmental damage or increasing damage, anything along those lines?
Yeah, we have talked about things like that. It kind of it's not looking good for Winston over there. Yeah, we talked about doing that. I mean, we are, especially for tournaments, we do have kind of a need to ensure that the bouts don't last past a specific amount of time. So we have some ideas, environmental damage being one of those, but there could be other things that could happen as well. So I guess we'll see what we come up with. I don't have any like concrete responses on what it will be at this point, but we are talking about that sort of thing.
Very nice. Thank you. Maddie, yes, Winston won last week against Chun-Li. He right now, I think he's actually won the only one that he did, right, Winston? Well, you're busy. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's right. We've only done one so far. This will be number 2.
Yeah, so right now he's 1-0. It may not last, but right now he's 1-0.
Wait.
He's undefeated.
Wasn't there one like 2-3 weeks ago that he lost? Am I tripping on that?
Oh, I think yeah.
Yeah, there was one we did live, but I'm not sure if it was during an AMA or when it was exactly.
Yeah, I don't remember either, and I don't count that anyway. This was a new series, you got to reset the clock for him.
True, yeah. Let's not count the ones that he lost. If you don't look at the ones he's lost, he's won them all.
Exactly. I mean, I know he lost one to me, but
Sounds a lot better when you say it like that.
It sounds like Maddie is ready to be your next competitor next Thursday too. So
Is that a new guy?
Yep. Maddie's brand new. Just joined the community at permissionless. Actually,
JK, love you, Maddie. Don't be mad. Love you. Okay, bye.
Oh, the callback. Questions. Yeah, those things. I'm actually going to take the next couple. But anyway, items can have a soulbound version. Instances where soulbound airdrops could be done to reward players, but they are, forced to use those items instead of selling them. So is it possible? Yes. It does mean implementing a different version of every one of those items. So it's not exactly a small thing, which also if we implement, like, I'm going to use, Moksha runes for a second, which are definitely Moksha, not Mokasha. But, if we implement a second version of Moksha runes that are soulbound, we also have to set up the meditation circle to accept those soulbound versions. So it's not something that is super easily done, but it can be done. However, the other side of this, a lot of times when people bring this up, it's like in regards to the economic impact. Realistically, like, there's still an economic impact to airdropping soulbound items, because if we send somebody 10 soulbound mokshas, like, that's 10 mokshas that they aren't getting from another source. So it doesn't eliminate the economic impact. It changes it slightly, but it doesn't remove it entirely either. So that's I guess a long answer to that question, but it is possible. It isn't necessarily appealing. Thoughts on a not on expedition filter? Sounds like a great item for Beatles list. I actually think it might already be on Beatles list, but if not, it is now. And then the last one that I'm going to take, and I think Dreamer might chime in on this one as well. Will PvP bouts eventually be sponsored by DFK or other projects? If so, any thoughts on what that looks like? Is it random, promoted matches, etc.? So I will say, like, we actually have been sponsoring a decent number of bouts already. So anything you see that says utility wallet, that's us. Additionally, we actually have some player reward funds from Metis. we are going to be adding the ability to sponsor bouts with Metis in addition to Jewel. And so once we do that, we are also going to be sponsoring some bouts with Metis itself, which I'm really excited for. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's a great way to get the Metis ecosystem involved because a lot of times they want to win Metis. So this will be an opportunity for them to win Metis, as well as an opportunity for us to just keep sponsoring bouts and keep people getting rewarded. As far as other projects sponsoring, definitely very possible. As far as what that specifically would look like, I think that would largely depend on each circumstance. Like I think a lot of those would probably be handled separately, or handled potentially differently from each other. As far as our sponsorships go, I mean, realistically, we do kind of just sponsor at random, but if we see bouts, we try to get them sponsored, especially once we add the Metis sponsorships and we are sponsoring with the Metis. We are going to be aiming to sponsor several bouts a day. So, I would say get your bouts created and there's a good chance that they'll get sponsored by us. And then also with multi-voting coming today, that makes life a lot easier as well for both sponsoring and participating. So a lot coming on that front. Dreamer, if you have anything you want to add, please feel free.
Sure. And first I'll do damage control. I like Matty Pest. I was pressured into being a part of a joke, and maybe the joke's gone too far. I'll stop. But anyway, this like option currently to sponsor bouts is something that we are looking for ways to add higher volume and higher participation to. As Bola mentioned, we've already sponsored a fair amount, but we've had a lot of good ideas on like how to systematically reward people with a sponsorship. Unfortunately, they all push back everything else we want to do. So we're kind of trying to do it more manual. It isn't perfect. In a perfect world, there wouldn't be like decisions made manually and having to fill it. But we really don't. We have some really cool stuff in the works, some of which you know about. A good chunk of it you guys don't know about yet. And it's all awesome. So with all the systematic ideas that would push things back, we're opting to instead just be a little more lenient. And the more bouts we see created there, or if there are tournaments being organized by guilds or people in the community, we are going to be looking out for that and trying to use what we have available currently to help that. If we see success, so let's say we see more bouts being created, more of them being tuned in on and spectated on and influence being used, that does increase our potential to go to others and say, hey, would you like to allocate X amount for us to help sponsor these bouts on your behalf and kind of, get your tokens out there or get more like marketing similar to hunts. When people started to see, wow, people are doing hunts, we more easily obtained hunt sponsorships. So all those are possible and we are working on it. Obviously we're manually delivering that, so we can't scale too much. But if you fast forward to hosted tournaments, like tournaments makes it a lot easier because you have essentially rewards in the tournament, and then you have a clear idea of how many bouts are going to take place and everything. We're just in phase one, so we're trying to do what we can with phase one without delaying later phases significantly. So I appreciate you guys for bearing with us, but we're going to be turning up those manual efforts too.
Awesome. Thank you, Dreamer. Before I read the next question, Winston, if you're ready, that's fine. If you want to keep waiting, also feel free.
No, now's a great time. I figured I would let the let the group decide, so I can either open the crystal first or I can pick somebody first. So let's give that a second and see kind of what people think about that. Any thoughts, Bolon? What do you think?
I always go winner first.
Yeah,
Winner
let's
agree.
do winner first.
All right, winner first. Let's see.
Otherwise, if it
See
was
if they
really
get a good
good,
womp womp moment.
I could send you something to make it be me you pick instead.
You want to know who gets disappointed if it's a bad result, you know?
Okay, you should see the giveaway tool now, right?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. 46 people. Who's it going to be? Eric. Is that the same? Is that the same one from earlier?
The one that did that really big sponsorship.
That's the one.
Maybe. Don't know.
I hope it is, and I hope we got something good for you.
Eric will have to tell us in chat.
Made me nervous when DeFi Kingdoms almost won. It was going to be like that episode of The Office where
Burn it all down.
Dwight tricked Jim into picking his wife. Anyway, sorry.
I was really hoping DeFi Kingdoms would win. It would have been funny.
All right, let's crack this open. See what we got for Eric. You know, I don't remember exactly what I put into it, so
Drum roll on my microphone.
no, I do kind of remember.
Preemptive congratulations to Eric, and then we'll see. We'll see if it's an action.
Maybe congrats, maybe not. All right, the first thing we wanted is just that it's death touched, right? So let's hope it's got the white skin. Oh,
No death touched, but it is an archer.
it's an archer. It's not bad. Oh,
Ooh, nice.
Oh, dang.
Oh, legendary archer with
course, got the
hardened
bigger stone.
shield.
Lesser Vigor Stone on there.
I would say that's worthy of a congratulations. you know?
Yeah, congratulations. Sorry you
Jenny-
missed on the skin, but
I'm just imagining like someone having like a newborn child. I think it's worthy of a congratulations.
not me.
You
It's not
gotta-
worthy.
You got to wait to see the results, you know? Congratulations, Eric. Reach out to Winston, or if you don't care, you can drop your OX straight in the YouTube chat, whatever works for you. But
Whatever you like.
hit us up to claim your legendary archer. Awesome. Back to questions here. We're turning back over to Hubert for a few minutes. What is our consideration that PJs have the stat boost that they received? Do we anticipate doing unique stat increase items or opportunities for non-PJ heroes? Do we think that theoretically, stat-wise, Mythic PJs will always have at least a small leg up? What are your thoughts on that front?
Yeah, so I think, I want to be really careful about other things that give stat ups besides the systems that we have right now, especially with the way we've set up the dynamic stat calculations in our combat engine. Like it's all kind of contingent on it working within a system. So, here and there we may add additional things that do like a small amount of stat ups. We generally have done that in the past for Gen Zeros when we do like a new release of like hero type class, and then like rerolling genes. Like there's been setups for that, and we've done a few other things as well. But yeah, in general, I'm pretty hesitant to introduce more systems, and I don't think I would ever introduce a system where it specifically excludes PJ heroes. So, I do think that they likely will have a little bit of a stat advantage, but I don't think that comparing, I guess a mythic hero potentially having 15 more stats because it's a PJ, like at low levels that makes a bigger difference, but as like the level cap raises and things like that, I think it that advantage gets a little bit more averaged out, especially depending on like how well their level ups happened too. So I'm not too worried about it, and we could do things in the future, but we do need to be really careful about how we do it and when and things. So I think they would be kind of few and far between when they do happen, if they happen.
Awesome. Thank you. Any thoughts on turning Glut the Furnace in Crystal Vale into a Wishing Well type system?
Probably not going to do that, but we do have some thoughts about him having other purposes in the future. But yeah, I don't see it being a wishing well.
Nice. Let's see. So, wondering if possible for future holiday seasons, see a few areas around the kingdoms become decorated. SPD actually mentioned this in chat as well. Love the idea in general. It would be super fun, and we all love making things pretty. But it would be a pretty big draw on our art team and prevent them from doing other things that right now we need them doing. So probably not short term, just for resource conservation, but definitely something that would be pretty cool to see in the future. I know we've done like fireworks in the past and done some cool stuff like that. So we're always looking for fun opportunities. Let's see. Hubert, can you just drop the page 10 eternal story and all it says is bullish?
No, but that's funny.
In the marketplace, when selling materials to gold, so at the vendor, would it be possible to submit multiple selected items at once instead of submitting each item one at a time? And similarly, would it be possible to show the sale value in gold for the vendor versus the trader?
I mean, possible, yes. The first of those things would require both some contract work and some front end work. So like it would be kind of a matter of priorities, and I don't really see that being one that we would prioritize very highly right now. The second one is also another like front end piece of work, and we have a lot of front end work that we're working on right now. So like it can go on the list at somewhere, but I don't see that being a high priority for us anytime soon, unfortunately.
Thank you. Jumping over to Fox for a second. Thoughts on being able to list multiple heroes at one time? For example, select 10 or 20 heroes and list them all at the same price in one go.
Yeah, this is more of a UI concern than a smart contract concern. We've added a lot of things to our contracts that allow for like multi-meditating and multi other things. And it's fairly easy for us to do from a smart contract side. The hard part usually comes in with like building an interface around it. This one probably wouldn't be very complex. It sounds fairly simple. It's just one of those things that would go on the list of the Beetle Dude, which he has a lot of things there, but definitely doable. I will also say, just sort of a interesting tidbit on the side, with our Metis release and just in general too, we've been doing more and more things with diamonds, where you have a single smart contract address. It's kind of like the root of like your diamond. And then you've got a bunch of other smart contracts that are like some of the facets of that diamond, but they're still all accessed through the same root address. So it basically creates this really cool system where you've got a shared state amongst all of those contracts, and they can all kind of work together. And it's basically like you have one really big contract that's just sort of working in tandem. The cool thing about this is for Metis, the meditation circle, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I just had a really late flight last night and I'm jet lagged, but it's a facet of our hero diamond on Metis, which also includes the PvP stuff and like the voting stuff and all that, like the spectator system. A lot of those are just like parts of that one really cool, like really big diamond, and it helps with like efficiency for gas and for other things. But one cool thing about it that we did for the meditation circle is we added a multi-call facet, which basically means it allows you to basically call any of the methods on the diamond in like a single call. So if like you wanted to call 10 meditates or 10 whatever in a single call, you could do that using that. And it's more of a programmatic thing at this point because it's there. But basically, any interfaces that are out there, any other third-party tools could be using those. And I think for all of our things going forward, you'll see this kind of like pattern being more and more adopted. So it's going to be one of those things that we won't even have to explicitly add support for ourselves, but anyone out there could do it if they wanted to. Is this the same one? This is a different one. And then there was a question about unequipping heroes too, right? Is that your next question, Bolan, or something? I don't know.
It's a little bit later, but you can take it right now if you want.
Let's do it. I think I saw one. Actually, could you read it to me?
Yeah. So thoughts on if it would be possible to change when equipment is removed from heroes from when they are listed for sale to when a sale completes successfully.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So this is an interesting one too. And basically, I think the use case there is you want to put a hero up for sale, then maybe once a day have them come out and play a like match or something, and then relist them. Currently, to list a hero, it unequips them when you list them, and that's an automatic thing. But I think in this case, they want it to not be unequipped and still be listed, which would have to basically transfer it to the sale contract. And then if it sells, then at that point, at the sale point, it would basically strip their equipment off and send that back to the player, and just send the hero over. I think that's something that's possible. Hubert had some ideas there as well. But I think also it'd be cool if we did something where maybe it's an option or something that we could show if a hero includes their equipment or not. And that's probably more involved as a build, but maybe you could sell a hero and all their equipment using something like that. And have it like show up like includes this pet and these armors and whatever else, which could be interesting. But stuff that is all possible. It's just a matter of priorities. We've got a lot of really cool things we're working on. That's really exciting stuff. And so really it's more about what's the ROI of different things there. But what I'd like to do from the standpoint of the Solidity side is build the infrastructure so that anybody out there could build tools that will do this. There's a lot of opportunities there for like third-party devs to just basically interact with our smart contracts directly and create tools for that.
Awesome. Hubert, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Sorry.
No, I think that covered it pretty well. Yeah, again, it's always a question of priorities. I think the simpler version of that, which just answering the question part, is probably a bit easier to like handle than like the extra idea that Fox had where they include their equipment, just because I guess then like we have all these filters for like filtering for specific equipment and stuff. Like if we wanted to try to I guess identify that there's this hero that has a Scali's eye equipped to it kind of thing, like it would be a little bit harder to search for that. So I think the lift to do something like that would be higher than the first one. But either way, it's always a question of do we prioritize that over mysterious bannerman activities or other things like that. So yeah.
The mysterious bannerman activities. For leveling up, any thoughts on having preset custom stat choices or anything where it like carries over to apply that stat choice to a series of heroes?
Yeah, so we actually tried, like we were wanting to do that when we first did an implementation of like we added some options that you could select when leveling up to auto select some of the stats. And the main issue there is that we didn't have like off-chain account-based storage for each person. and we still don't have that. And that was kind of something that we would need to like be able to do that. And we do have plans to eventually get to the point where we implement something like that. It's just we haven't gotten there yet. With though I'll just note that, you know, also when we get to another thing that is also kind of far off, like the auto leveling on expeditions, that will also allow you to, you know, kind of pre-set up your level ups that you want for a hero. So at that point, you could kind of select the stats that you want them to do, and then it will, you know, you'll have already kind of made those choices all at once, like, you know, potentially for multiple levels for the same hero. So that's kind of along the same lines. I know it's not exactly the same as what the question is asking, but you know, there are options that will come about with some of these new features as we get to them.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Got a couple I'm going to take, and then we'll see how far we get before we wrap up. Only got a few left, though. So when Kaya is fully live and implemented, how will we get rid of the depegging in Sarandale? I mean, ultimately, that is really kind of down to Kaya. So it's not our depegging. The stable coins that are available on that chain are depegged because they're Orbit stables, and Orbit Bridge had the compromise at the beginning of the year. So it really just depends on what Kaya decides to do in terms of if they just implement a new bridge with new stables, if, you know, Orbit gets made whole. Like there's a lot of different routes there, but that one is really not one that's necessarily in our control. It just depends on what direction Kaya decides to take it.
And like that isn't like a prerequisite, but I think outside of that, there's things we can do in Sarandel for our players to have a better reason to do more things there, or distribute like overall transactions differently. We can't we talk about those options pretty frequently, but we don't really progress them because we need we need that item that Bolon highlighted to be addressed and fixed. So we love all of our IP that's spread across different chains and all the support. And I look forward to the day that Sarandale can get more love for sure. It would just be probably a misuse of our limited energy to do that prior to some core things getting addressed over there. So out of our control, but it also is something that many other communities are waiting for too. We're not the only ones. So when it does, we'll look at options to help with the Sarandale demand anyway, but the overall repegging or closing the gap between like Jade and Crystal, if that's like the crux of the question with the DFK assets, that's up to the players. So we'll look to give it love, more love when we can, and until then, we'll be identifying higher demand options and bigger ROI options like we have been, and keep building as we go.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Dreamer. Question about the drop down list in the top right corner. If we are planning to leave it as is, simplify it back down to a smaller size. We've actually talked about this a decent amount internally, and overall would like to pretty much just revamp that whole menu and do a larger overhaul. So again, it falls into the time and resources bucket. But yes, that menu's gotten quite long. And so we want to mix it up and make it a little more efficient and effective again. To Zipper's point in chat, we did remove something from that menu once, and not everyone was pleased. But yeah, we do want to revamp that and make it a bit more effective as it used to be. So it is on the list, but again, into that time and resources bucket. So not the highest priority, but we are aware of it, and we see that as well. Let's see, there's a question about the overall drop percentage of the Death Touch skin. We talked about it at the very beginning, but it's coming in right about 27% right now. So as expected, on a 25% chance with a bit of variance for RNG. So things are going well there. At least as of an hour ago, there was about 15,000 heroes that have been burned so far, which is awesome. So yeah, people seem to be enjoying it, which is always fun to see. All right, oh no, actually, we already answered that question. Sorry, that was the one that that Fox already answered. Well, that was it. That was our last question. I just didn't realize it was. But that's perfect. We're right on time, so we will go into a quick wrap up and call it a day. As always, I want to thank everybody who has tuned in and listened to this live, as well as everybody who will listen to the recording later. Thank you to everybody who submits questions. Please keep them coming. AMA questions can be submitted in the AMA questions channel in Discord or on talk.defykingdoms.com. But please make sure you get those questions in, because otherwise we don't have anything to answer for you, and this would be a really weird AMA. So thank you everybody on our end who is up here on stage, takes the time out of their week to be here and answer these questions. Also, thank you to Winston, who has become our unofficial bout fighter during every AMA. It's a lot of fun to watch, so we greatly appreciate you taking that on, and can't wait for you to fight Maddie. It'll be interesting to see what heroes he can put together in the next week, since he's a brand new player. But we'll see what he can do. You know.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that. I never agreed to fight Maddie, so maybe this is one you'll step in on, Bolon. That's going to be this Bolon v Maddie. I don't know.
Ooh, I don't know about all that, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
We'll talk this week. Maddie and I'll talk. We'll figure it out. Hey, come on, man. You SPD.
SPD's already throwing shade.
Quick, really. Okay, well, I got to pick somebody else now.
Well, we'll do a real quick round for final thoughts, and then we're gonna have Fox give us our bullish this week, since he's returned from his travels as well. Winston, any final thoughts if you want to re-unmute?
I have re-unmuted. Just thanks for playing with us. It's really exciting. Watching bouts get kind of ramped up, and almost every day we have some people doing big fights, and it's fun to watch those. It's fun to vote on them and talk a little shit, and it's been really cool. You guys are having a fun time, and I'm having fun. Thank you.
Let's go, Dreamer. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think I gave an update on Thailand, but I think by this time next week we will be joining many of our chain partners in Thailand for DevCon, and a lot of other events happening there. So we are continuing to try to represent everybody at these events. And DevCon in Thailand is going to be heavily attended by Metis. There's also going to be a karate combat event there. We are going to see Kaya there and talk to them about some strategic items. In Argentina, Sunbear and myself were able to meet the folks heading up Avalanche Asia, and they're going to have representation there among some of the other infrastructure partners. So we'll be a big week. We'll have a few of us out there and trying to spread the good word of DFK. There's some other things in the mix for November and the end of the year of events and representation there, but I have not been able to be on as many AMAs. I've traveled more than I can really handle, but these are good opportunities, and we'll be back on the road for this and other things, so we'll be updating as we can. But thanks everybody for the support, and I am super B as well, but I won't give away the B because Fox has the B.
Hubert, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I will mention that I was able to catch that the bout between who was his opponent? It was Stick's intern versus, I think, was it Skiller? I don't think it was Skiller, somebody else, I think, but maybe it was. But anyway, the one that I guess the bad Eric put a whole bunch of sponsorship on. That was a really cool tournament to watch. It was really cool to see all the engagement that was there. I believe Mega was streaming it, and I watched all that. So appreciate all you guys for all the content that you put out and for engaging with our system. It's really cool to see, kind of, the potential of it all, starting to grow. And, with our multi-spectating coming out today, hopefully that should make things a little bit easier for everybody. And it's just kind of another step in just kind of improving the overall system. I appreciate all the feedback that we got on that. And yeah, just looking forward to everything that we're working on right now, and just trying to push everything forward. So thanks, everybody. It was Just Crypto. That's right. That's right. And congrats, Just, for winning on that. That was a nice comeback after that first round.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Fox, any final thoughts and good old sign off for us?
You're muted.
Thank you. I probably would have just kept talking. I mean, there's a lot of really, really cool things being built, a lot of cool things in the works. Magnus has just really been killing it from the smart contract side. He and I work pretty closely together, and he's just amazing. And obviously, of course, Pinecone, also I work very closely with him. So I'm kind of representing the sort of like the back end devs a lot of times, but it's really a pleasure to work with them and our whole team. Really talented folks. Really cool things being built. I'm really excited about like many of the systems. It's just like really cool to be in this position where we've built, like we've already done a lot of the boring stuff, a lot of like just creating the foundation, and now it's just all of the fun and really cool stuff that's on the horizon. So just happy to be here and happy to be working on that. And I just want to say thank you to our community. You guys are great. This was a like really great match too. That was awesome. And yeah, I guess thank you and bullish.
Bullish. See you all next
Bullish.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.